By now, you probably know what Riz means. It's a Gen Z internet slang, and it seems to be everywhere. Riz refers to style or charm. But do you know what a Rizzler is? The word is derived from Riz, but it has an entirely different meaning. Rizzler refers to a good person. If you're confused, let me tell you, this is only the beginning. Welcome to the language of Generation Alpha, or Gen Alpha, the cohort coming up right behind Gen Z, the only generation born fully in the 21st century. Gen Alpha is born between 2010 and 2024, so the oldest children are on the cusp of turning 14. The youngest will be born this year. These are the children of millennials. Basically, they can maneuver iPads, but they can't tie their own shoelaces. And they have begun a generational rite of passage by using their own slang words, birthing new trends, and befuddling their elders in the process. One thing sets them apart. Gen Alpha is a landmark generation. You see, the global population has been changing for a while now. It is getting richer, becoming better educated, and more exposed to digital technology. But Gen Alpha kids will surpass all those who came before them. They will grow up to be the best educated generation ever, the most tech-supplied generation ever, and the wealthiest generation ever. They're also expected to be the largest in history, at more than 2 billion people. So about time we get to know them better. Here's a much-needed primer on Gen Alpha. Let's start with technology. Think of this generation like an unintentional global experiment. They began being born in 2010, when app was the word of the year, 2010, the same year when Instagram was created and the iPad was introduced. That's why these children are called iPad kids. Screens were placed in front of them from the get-go as pacifiers, as educational aids, or as entertainers. They're the first entirely online cohort, and they've always had a media-centric childhood. They're comfortable with it. They're adapting to artificial intelligence much quicker and much better as well. Gen Alpha grew up with Siri and Alexa in their homes. They have ChatGPT in schools. The AI model is being used as a learning tool. So the blurring lines between AI and human don't freak out Gen Alpha. And this can help them as they join the workforce. After all, AI at work is inevitable, and the landscape of work is changing as well. For the previous generations, medicine or engineering were seen as the ideal career options. But not for the young anymore. They're exploring more avenues, like influencing on social media. Gen Z may have championed it, but Gen Alpha is picking up the tricks of the trade much sooner. Kids are turning into online influencers and boosting their own trends. They're also driving services, specifically catering to children, from skincare to payment apps. Generation Alpha is also known to spend money more easily, making them the perfect target audience, which explains why marketers are busy wrapping their heads around this generation. Preteens, kids, toddlers, babies, the unborn, you name it. But things aren't all hunky-dory among Gen Alpha. The most defining event of their lives was the Wuhan virus pandemic. It affected how kids study and how well they score. Research shows that test scores have seen a drop since the pandemic, and student absenteeism has soared. Their social connections took a hit as well, taking a toll on their mental health. And on top of that, they're suffering from climate anxiety at a young age. Generation Alpha is being born during the hottest years on record. Climate change is raging the world over, and the youngest generations are battling it more than their elders had to. Now, like every generation that came before them, Gen Alpha has their own set of perks too, just as they have unique baggage. They can only hope that inscrutable memes serve as a good coping mechanism, while Gen Z slowly join millennials in feeling what boomers felt for decades, being annoyed at computers.